And so
Yeah.
I don't know if I can, it would be amiss for me to not mention Ishe Komborera.
Hallelujah. Yeah, Ishe Komborera, Prince, is a song that is so dear, I think, to many Zimbabweans, and even maybe to the greater African context, since it came out of the African national anthem. And for me, Ishe Komborera is very special to me on my heart, in the sense that it's a song that captures the sense of wanting Africa to go back to the essence of knowing God and experiencing the blessing of God. I think Africa has been used as a metaphor for corruption. Africa has been used as a metaphor for poverty, for tribalism, for genocide, for disease, pestilence, drought, famine. But I believe that Africa also captures the hope of many nations. I think Africa is a place that captures strong moral values and a sense of Ubuntu, or a sense of community. And so the song Ishe Komborera Africa came out of a time of intercession by one of the country's leading intercessors, who called Mia. And she's the wife of a prominent businessman, billionaire, and she said the Lord had instructed her to look for me to do two songs. Redo a song that I did earlier on in my career called Muyam Training, and then to do Ishe Komborera, which was going, and these two songs were going to usher revival in Zimbabwe and the greater African context. And so I did Ishe Komborera and Muyam Training out of that prophetic instruction that came from that leading intercessor. And and so we shot the videos for that. My prayer is a move of God. I believe right now, especially even for Zimbabwe, and where we're at as a nation, the only place we can go is up, because we've come to the lowest of the lowest. And I believe that God is going to raise us up as a nation. But most importantly, I believe that there's a move of God that is happening across Africa, and is beginning to happen in the African nations across the board. God is releasing His Spirit in Africa in a way that it's not being experienced across the world. This is my own personal belief. At the same time, I believe that God is releasing a great move. And I believe in the prophetic word that says that Zimbabwe, for example, there's a prophetic word that was given by Cindy Jacobs a couple of years ago, the Guatemala prophecy, that Zimbabwe is going to be a place where people will come to experience revival, that Zimbabwe is going to be a place of peace. It's going to be the Geneva of Africa. That Zimbabwe is going to be a place where it's going to unite people who races, tribes across the continent. Zimbabwe is going to be an example of. And I believe that God is doing. There's something special about the nation of Zimbabwe. And I want to say to Zimbabweans in particular, at this time, as we celebrate our 40th independence, I believe the last 40 years, yes, have been difficult. We have seen the worst of the worst. We have seen our economic potency eroded. We have seen a lot of degrading of our moral character as a nation. Corruption has come to the fore. Injustice, even the political space of the nation. But I believe that even as we've turned 40 years, I believe that God is about to do something special in the nation of Zimbabwe that goes beyond and defies the human mind. I believe that the only way up, in as much as we are Zimbabwe's Z, we shall be first. That God shall raise us up as a nation, this continent, and in this world, to bring forth peace, the message of peace. Most importantly, I believe the message of the gospel shall go out from Zimbabwe to the nations of this world. And I believe we're coming to that point where even those who've claimed to be superpowers for years and centuries also started where we are at. And I believe that the nation, that Africa as a continent is going to be raised in the next decade. I believe the next decade belongs to Africa. I believe the next decade and even the next few decades belong to the continent of Africa. I believe it belongs to the 3/3 world. My battery is about to run out, Prince. Yeah. So, yeah, those are my thoughts.
Thank you so much.
Those are